Back in the shop, gonna be doing something totally different in this video. Hang around if you want to watch. So it's after Christmas, and by the time you see this video, it'll be the first of the year, the new year. Can't believe a year's already passed already. Always get me a fire going when it's chilly. It's about 30 degrees here this morning. Really perfect weather, in my opinion. I just like the fire. I don't really need it in here, but I like to have my coffee sitting by my fire. It's just something about it. That's the way I was raised, in a house with wood heat, and it brings back memories. But today, I'm gonna be trying to get my shop straightened out. It is a disaster. I mean, I've been working on not just knives for the last few weeks and hadn't picked up after myself, cleaned up, but in the Christmas rush, also making Christmas gifts, not necessarily knives, but a lot of other projects. And it is a total disaster out here and in the clean room. But I'm about to start on some folders and a couple fixed blades, but I have to make some steel. I have a 68 layer of W's bar already forged out, but I'm gonna restack that and get it up to over probably 300 layers, and I'm gonna twist it and make some folder stock with it, and who knows what else. I'm gonna do that, but I got to get these rooms cleaned up because I just can't function now. It's a total mess. But anyway, glad you're joining me today. First thing I'm gonna do is get in my clean room, and I've got to make a material order. Just a day and several days in the life of how my days go, and starting off on this cool Monday morning, Tuesday morning actually, I'm going to make a list of all the material I need and get it ordered. I've already got most of what I need, but I like to stay several weeks ahead on material and projects I know that's coming along and get that stuff ordered. First thing I'm gonna look at is folder parts. Yeah, so this is the Damascus bar, 68 W's, 68 layers. And I'm gonna cut it, stack it up 3 times, and forge it back out into a 3/4 bar and twist it. And then I will forge out a billet to make the folders. It'll be a folder billet. And I'll have enough for a small knife. We'll see. I've got some other steel cut up, some more 1084 and 15N20 that I'll be making. While I'm running the forge, I like to put a couple billets in there. But right now I'm doing some inventory for folders. And I like to keep everything organized. I think you can see these trays here. And as much as I try to organize, it's still a pain and a nightmare. One of the problems is I get folder parts from 3 different vendors, 3 to 4. And the reason is because just about the time I get one with the material and hardware I like and using, they get out of stock or don't even carry it no more. All the time run into that. But it's just one of those deals. And I've got, enough material probably to make 1 folder right now, 1 liner lock and maybe a frame lock. I've got enough titanium for a couple frame locks, and here's a small amount that'll make 1 liner lock. So I'll be ordering titanium for both actually. That way I'll have it, and because I know that the projects I got coming up, so I need to go ahead and plan for them. So I'll have a couple $100 just in titanium. I like to get the knife maker grade stuff that Alpha sells because it's good and flat, and you don't have this bent, sheared, cut stuff that you get a lot cheaper. You can probably get away with it with some stuff. I have, and but it's just not the same. Not the same quality. This stuff here is pretty good shape. It's got a good finish on it. I don't have to do any finish work here. I can jewel this just like it is. I always jewel the inside of my liner locks and frame locks. And then I anodize, and you can't even tell. I mean, it's good, clean finish on these. On Alpha's titanium. They don't pay for nothing or sponsor me, by the way. I use a lot of their stuff. They have good Tie Connector has good stuff. I get some stuff from USA Knife Maker and a few others I use. But so one of the things I know that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to need bearings. So I pull down my bearing tray. I have a couple different trays for bearings because of the different companies I use. And I'll put two of the same in one of these. I just have them labeled, and I can tell what they are. The main thing is diameter. But let me show you this here. I've got four bearings laying here. These things are about $5 a piece of these folder bearings, and these are no good. They're supposed to be a certain OD, and they're oversized by about thousandths and a half, which I'm using an exact cutter. And I could cut those a little bigger, but I'd have to buy another cutter. And that's a little frustrating, you know, whereas the bearings from this other company are dead on. And I've never had an issue with them being oversized, or in some cases the bearing's not rolling properly and you'll have one hung up, things like that. So I try to find, you know, quality bearings, use quality bearings, and I purge the ones that are no good. And so I always buy a few extra for that reason. And, you know, when you're looking at $5, $6 a piece, it gets expensive quick when they don't work. And what you gonna do, send a couple bearings back and cry and complain? I had a vendor, I walked up to a vendor, I ain't gonna tell you who it is, at a blade show. And they didn't know my face apparently, but I told them who it was, and they, oh, yeah. Well, this particular vendor, I had called him about some belts, brand new belts that just popped. As soon as I put them on my grinder, pop, 3 of them. And I don't have that problem any other time, and my tension's right. I know I've been doing this, 30 plus years, and, I know what the tension should be on my grinders. And I run belts on them every day. But just that little remark let me know, that they knew my name. Whatever, but I still buy belts from them, by the way. They replaced my belts. And I thought that was mighty good of them to do that, and I didn't have any trouble with them. But, so I'll go through here, make a list of everything I need, and it's already a pretty good list. I got a couple $100 here in material. I mean, if I don't write it down, I'll forget about it. And then right when I need it, I don't have it. And I work on a schedule because I got to get these things out so many a month and, get them to my customers, and because I have to pay my bank notes. And I have to stay ahead of the game. So I'm going to get this done, and I'll go get that order placed this morning and move on to the next chore, which is cleaning up this. Look at this place, man. Boxes everywhere, drilling swarf. I try not to do too much drilling in my shop. I do a little milling over here, but I come in here and vacuum everything up. I vacuum everything over there. I try to keep it as clean as possible, but when I get through in here, you would think this is not my clean room. But I do my leather and stuff in here, try to keep it fairly clean, but it's almost impossible. Let me get this done. All right, hope you can see me here. Just a little bit different perspective with the camera. What I'm going to do now, I went ahead and placed my order for materials I need, everything but belts. But it doesn't matter what I'm about to do now. I already know what belts I'm going to get. I just wanted to verify which ones that I had new. And these are all old belts, and what I like to do is time for culling. This is about a month of belts here, and I've got several stacks here and there. There's some over there. There's actually some laying over there. Pretty good sized stack here. What I like to do is go through them and cull them, and I will keep most of the 50 grit, 36 grit, anything like that, that's in fairly good shape, because I use them for deburring, profiling, and I will use them for cutting my initial bevels, the steep bevel, before I heat treat a knife. And now one of the things that I'd like to do is I take a broke carbide bit, a mill or something like that is broke, put on high speed, and I clean these belts up with that carbide bit. The belt won't cut them, but it will open up some of this grit again, where they're a little more sharper and usable. And so I just go through and I find the ones that I know. I know this one here is fairly well. I'll do it to that. There's a couple over here. There's one there. And I've got cats in here in the shop with me, my shop cats. They like to hang out with me. But I'll go through here. This one here is pretty well shot. So I'll just take it over there. And I do the same thing with belts from 120 to 220. After that, they pretty much shot 400, 600 grit, and so on. This belt is shot. And I just save myself a little, there's a good belt. I save new belts by doing those deburring chores and things like that by using these old worn out belts. And I can bring these, back, put a little more life into them with that carbide bit by just opening them up, and they'll work. But I've got a mess around here. I actually have fire hazards. I got dust. I got paper towel laying there, kind of the same over here, stripped off paper. I got to take this piece off. I got to replace. I'll get everything ready for the next bit of work that I'm going to do. I've got sawdust and drill dust and shavings everywhere. I've got a fab table. It's in bad shape. I normally sweep this shop sometimes twice a week, but I haven't this week. I'm slacking. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done and go to the next chore. So hang with me. This was a fairly new belt that overtracked on me and got tore up. What I'm going to do is split it, and I will use half of this belt on small contours and things like that. It's just a way to save belts. So I've got the rough part done. What I'll do is come back and vacuum these places. It's a lot of dust collected there, but I got the fire hazard taken care of. I don't like a lot of sawdust, metal dust. Metal dust will burn just as easy. If you got a heavy amount of sparks going on a pile of metal dust, you can have a smoldering fire there, not know it, walk away, lock your shop up, and you got a problem. But I'm going to take this Damascus bar here. I'm going to just cut it in half. I'm going to have two pieces. I I want a little bit bolder pattern. I'm hoping that I can get a little bolder stars in there if I can get that to show up. That'll give me about 130 layers, something like that. And I think that'll look pretty good. So I'm gonna go outside and cut it. I don't like to do any grinding with my grinders, side grinders, and cutoff tools and stuff in here. It just creates way more dust than I already have. So I take it out on the table. Now, if I have to, if it's bad weather and what have you, I'll do it. But I'll take it outside, cut it, clean it up, and prepare it to forge weld. All right, now here's where I'm going to use one of these old belts, D-Bird. It's pretty wore out, but it'll still cut. Now what I have here, see if I can get it focused here, is a broke carbide bit. I broke it in a few videos back, but this is what I like. It's got these sharp edges, and it will cut that ceramic. So I'm gonna come over here, give it a cut, and I'm gonna clean up those pieces. All right, I got these boys pretty flat. I'm gonna put them in the vise and weld them up. I'm just gonna weld the ends. I'm gonna try to keep it real tight. I don't want to get anything in here, so I didn't even clean it up to weld it. I'm just taking a chance, but that's okay. So I'm gonna be stick welding this anyway. I'm out of argon. See, I'm out of everything near about it. So I'm gonna put it in here, bite it down good, and weld these ends up, and I'll put a handle on it, and we're gonna forge weld them together. So watch your eyes, it's gonna be bright. Although it's not gonna burn your eyes. Some people may think that though. Never know. She's ready to go. I'll just clean it up a little bit, stick it in the forge. So I thought I would mention something while I'm here. A lot of times you'll see me stack up a big stack of 15N20, 1084, whatever kind of pattern welded steel I'm attempting to do here, it's size of billet. And you'll see me fuse it with a TIG welder. And then I'll forge it out, cut it up into, 4 pieces that are 1/2 inch thick, and I'll do the same thing. I'll fuse them. A while back I saw someone say you can't do that because it'll break apart when you heat it up. Well, it will, but you have to preheat those pieces. You get them up to 350, 400 degrees, TIG them, and you won't have any problems. Fuse them together. I know this because when I worked in the oil field, we would weld on vessels that were 2 inches thick, sometimes even thicker. Giant bevels, take all day, several welders, stringing beads, and we would do it. But we had to preheat them, and we had markers. It was actually chalk, temperature chalk, color, or colors, whatever you want to call them, and we would check temperature. When the temperature's right, we'd weld them. Because if you didn't, you'd have checking because it's too cool. What happens, it cools too fast when you got a thick piece of metal, and it'll separate. If you preheat it, you're already there. So when you heat it up, you're not going to have that problem of breaking. Just thought I'd let you know. So I just pulled it out of my quench tank. Now, you've seen people use kerosene, and I use kerosene, but you can use your quench oil just the same. And what I mean is, I let it set in that quench oil, and it gets in between these layers where I haven't sealed it up with any welding. And the theory is that it creates a carbon soot layer in between there, kills the oxygen when it burns off, and helps you get a good forge weld. I have used this method a lot. It works great. I don't know who came up with it, but been using this for several years now. And on a piece this narrow, I will throw a little flux right here. And I do that just for extra security. And not that any of this is even necessary. You can do this completely, I have, without any oil and any flux. Good, clean, flat surface, and it works. So I'm gonna put a little flux on it. Just a little. Oop, that was a lot. I don't like to use too much because it eats up your forge, and when you redo these things, they're a chore. So we're gonna get this thing in the forge. Heating up. I'll set the forge weld a couple times and then draw it out into about a 3/4 square. All one color. It's good forge weld. All right, I don't have my mic on, so I know this is going to sound loud, but I went over and ground those seams where it was, had a cull shut in there when I pressed them, because these pieces were shaped kind of like that. And right in there where they press, they didn't bulge out like, they will somewhat, but not enough. If I'd have pressed over here, I had a cull shut down each side. They would have spread it out some, but you still got a risk. I'm gonna heat it back up now and start drawing it out. right, we got it twisted up. And I just kind of went and bumped it, made it round, just bumped it in some, save on material because I'm gonna come in here, I know a lot of people don't, but I do. And I'm gonna clean this up in here so I don't have any cold shuts when I forge it out flat. And so I'm gonna go over to the grinder and clean it up. And what I was trying to show you there in the video is I will heat it up in spots where I can turn it tighter. I'm sure you realize that, but for those that didn't, of course, it's still not as tight as I want it all the way to the end, but you start turning on it, clamping it here, you cool it, starts cooling back. But in between here and there, you know, it's pretty tight. It could be much tighter, but out here it's more like Acme thread. But I will get 2 or 3 good folder blades out of here. What I'm gonna do is forge this out to about 1.5 inches wide, and as long as I can get it. These end pieces will make, you know, some little straight knives, still look good. These will be hidden tang ends, so save all of it as I can. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up, back in the forge, draw it out. All right, I've got it cleaned up. I got the width out of it I needed, but you saw me drawing it out from side to side with the peen, with the hammer. So I took the cross peen, just widened it out some because I knew where I needed to be. I had a mark on my anvil, and I gave myself a little room there. So I just cleaned it up. Got a 220 grit finish here. I got some oil smudges from my fingers. It's probably not gonna etch here, but I'm just gonna do an etch on both ends, and we'll see what she looks like. Go from there. It's about 3/16 thick right now, or it's a little under 3/16, and I will be surface grinding to my final thickness. But I like to etch, take a look at the pattern, see where I can lay my blades out because I'm not going to forge these in. I don't need to, and they'll look just fine. It just to start the pattern all up. I don't want to do that. So I'll let these etch a couple minutes. I'll clean them off, neutralize it with some Windex, and we'll take a look at it. All right, let's take a look at it. I hope you can see it here. You can see where those low twist turns were, and then of course where it wasn't twisted, it was just bit in the vise. And the same on this end. There's a little piece of weld inclusion right there, but that'll grind out. I've got plenty of room. This side, I had smudges on it, all smudges, so like right up in there. But you get the idea. It's gonna make some good folders. I can get a couple folders out of this midsection, real nice tight pattern, and back out, catch some short little skinners, something with those end pieces, end cuts, who knows? Never know what I use them for, but I've got my width and everything there. Pretty nice little billet, a little less than 3/16. But I hope you got something out of this. A little different video than I normally do, more of a vlog. A little different perspective on my day-to-day here. and, you know, trying to give you some variation in my content. But I want to say I hope you had a great year. I know I did, and I appreciate your support. Couldn't do it without you. My patrons, and there's some unspoken ones here. The ones that have sent me supers, especially one, you know who you are. I really appreciate that. You're a patron to me, and I want to wish all of you a happy new year, and we're going to see you on the next video, starting out with a bang. Thanks for watching.